Hi everyone, it's Jack here from Esports Live. Sorry to crash the podcast. A quick thank you to you all for all your support so far. We hope you like what you're hearing, even if our advice is absolute nonsense. Make sure you subscribe to our videocast on YouTube and Twitch channels, as well as follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, or if you prefer the podcast, subscribe on Spotify and Apple. Search Esports Live now on any of the platforms to get involved. We've got some exciting things happening in the background. Get ready for the Euros and the Fantasy Premier League season 21-22. Get involved now, don't miss out, and enjoy the pod. Fantasy managers, welcome to Game Week 25 on the FPL Addicts Esports Live Fantasy Podcast. A little bit different this week. Me and the Guru have stepped in to run things for the week. Without Ollie and Elliot, we'll say hello to them boys shortly and send our hellos over to them. But welcome to the pod, Matt. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Look, I'm good this week. Good win for Tottenham in the morning. Gareth Bale on a bit of form, goal and an assist. So good from a Spurs point of view, FPL point of view. We'll get into it in a bit later, possibly, but a good week for me as well. So yeah, doing well.
Good to hear. And listen, Gareth Bale finally stepping up for Tottenham, which is good to see. I think everyone wants him to do well, mate. But we know we've been giving you a bit of earache about him. But yeah. Good to see him stepping back up and scoring a good goal in there and got an assist as well. So we'll see if you can take that into the Premier League. But what we'll do, we'll get into the pod. We'll do a quick review from last week, how we've performed, and we'll jump into the Guru section so everyone can check in and get the tips ready for the week. And then also I can reveal last week's Peely's Puzzler was Georgie Kinkladze. If anyone got that, Matt, did you get that?
I did. It was a good one. That he was a cracking player back in the day. Slightly a little bit before my time, but I do remember him being a bit of a wizard and scoring a couple of cracking goals. One that springs to mind, I think, for Man City, where he took on about 4 or 5 players, and I think outside the boot in the top corner, if I remember it right from the highlights. So yeah, did get that one. But yeah, tough one. I think, not too many Georgian footballers that I can remember. So yeah, really good one that was. Yeah,
I think I can only remember Shota Avaladze. I think he was called for Rangers. I think he's the only Georgian I can remember apart from Kinkladze. But yeah, what a player was, even if he did play for the wrong side of Manchester. But listen, we'll move on, as the boys say. Obviously, a lot of high scores this week. Matt, Desmond 2-2, Tom Stone still at the top of the ladder there with he got 73 points this week, but a lot of 90s and 100s. Did you hit the century this week, Matt?
I didn't. Look, I thought I was going to get there. I got 93 points this week, and I was looking really, really good to hit a century, maybe even more. And then, my man Gundogan, who I've raved about him on the podcast now for about a month, and he got that 38 point score. And I was sitting there thinking, look, I could end up with maybe 120, 130 points with him having this second game. Got that groin strain. Once I heard he was out, I didn't think I was going to quite make it to that century, but not complaining with what I got. Martinez, wow, does it again. Save after save with 12 points. Stones, got one clean sheet out of the 2. Diaz, a bit of a disappointment, but again, he's made up for it in previous weeks. Clean sheet from Kufal, goal from Salah, goal from Fernandez. Nothing from Son, but I kind of expected that this week. Just spoke about my man Gundogan, unbelievable 38 points. Souček didn't do anything for me this week. Antonio, big letdown because none of my bench actually played, so I didn't even get the token point for Brewster. And Antonio obviously didn't pass fit, so that was a bit of a disappointment. So to still come out with 93 points, I'm not complaining. Obviously, Ings was one of my 2 transfers. My other transfer was DCL. Got the injury, missed both games. So just before deadline, I thought I'm going to just write off a transfer and bring Ings in, and he got 8 points. So yeah, overall, considering I had 10 men, I'm pretty happy with that. So I can't complain too much. And yeah, that captain choice, just really, really, really inspirational stuff.
Yeah, listen, your team's performed really well in there, Matt, and like I said, he was a bit of a nightmare of Antonio, and obviously the DCL one, mate, transferred in, then transferred out. Is that the first time you've ever done that?
You know what? It's the first time in years and years of playing FPL I've ever signed someone and transferred them out before deadline again. Obviously, we spoke about it last week. We had a bit of a chat on the WhatsApp, and I said, be careful about transferring DCL. My own side, Spurs, were playing Everton, and I think I was a bit scared of the price rise. Funnily enough, I think I still had enough in the bank and did the transfer. It was a disappointment, but being able to sort of get Ings in wasn't a bad thing. But it's the first time I've done it, and funnily enough, it's actually the first time I've owned DCL this season, and I didn't even get a game out of him. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, a bit of a nightmare. And listen, obviously, I was in the same position with that one, but we got through it and did okay. And you obviously came out really well this week with those 93. And I'll just have a look. And have you moved up in that league as well, or you've just moved down slightly after the results?
I got a slight red arrow.
Yeah,
but to stay in the, I'm happy just to sort of be back in that, stay in that 10, just about remain in that top 20. Which is a big achievement in this league. Actually, I want to give a shout out to fourth place. If you just scroll up there, Brian Curtin, my sister's partner. He's been wanting to get into the top 20 for a long time. He was sort of hovering around that 60, 70th place, and last few weeks he's really picked up. And this week he got 107 points. He's got himself into fourth in the league. He's barely 20 points off top now. So, yeah, really going to watch out for his team. And I know he's really, really wanting to win. Hopefully we'll get him as a guest on the podcast soon. Big Newcastle fan. And, yeah, just wanted to shout out his team this week. Just phenomenal stuff there with Cancelo and Pope and Maddison and obviously Gundogan in there. So, yeah, phenomenal score there.
Well, big shout out to Brian Curtin then with the COVID-11. Welcome to the top 20, and I can't believe we've got another Newcastle fan in the top 20, along with our with Elliot, who's obviously not on this week. So he got scored 72, quite low compared to obviously a lot of people in that top kind of 50 really. So 72 scoring quite low, but usually a great score on a normal week. I think it's because he went with Fernandez obviously as the captain, which myself and also Ollie did as well. And obviously Dallas, who everyone we were raving about last week, didn't do too well either, did they?
No, I'm thinking with Elliot's team here, if he'd made that investment in Gundogan, a few weeks ago, his team would be in a frightening position now. You'd be thinking top 5 in the league because he'd have had an extra probably, 17 if you take away the 2 points that Son's got. Probably an extra 17 points this week. So Elliot's done well to sort of stay in this top 20 in the league without even owning Gundogan, but I think that's definitely hampered his score this week. But he's got some good defensive scores. Pope and Cresswell has been a brilliant fantasy player, so I think that was a good transfer by Elliot in the last few weeks. But he's definitely moved down a bit.
Yeah, he's moved down, but he is still in the mix. And as we know, with this league, it can quickly change from week to week. And I'm now just going to scroll down, try and find Ollie Walker-Peel, he's got that red arrow, scored very similar, but he got 73. Captain Fernandez again. I think these two have got very similar teams as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they do. And I think that could be the first time Ollie's been out of the top 20 in a good few months, and I don't think he'll be too happy with that. I think looking at his team, he's probably held on a little bit too long to the likes of Rashford there. He's got the double up on West Ham, which worked this week. That's actually served him quite well. Edison, 14 points with an assist. Did well there, but I think he's been let down by Kane and Son and Rashford this week. But again, they could turn it on this week for him. But I think he'll be disappointed with that. But he did get the Barnes. It looks like Barnes come off his bench for DCL, so that did boost his score up a little bit. And he's also beat the average. So again, Ollie takes big pride with beating the average. So not a bad one, is it really? 73 points. I think it could have been worse. And Barnes coming on's really boosted him there. So.
Yeah, and that's a cracking score, like I said, on a usual week, and well above the average, which was 61. If you haven't checked, guys, and Ollie's obviously got his double Spurs assets, which are going to be hopefully quite good going into the next couple of weeks as well. So good work, Ollie. Looking forward, and then I'm out all the way at the bottom of this league. I think back again. It's just got so competitive. Here we go in 50 seconds. So I have moved down one position there.
You had a good week there. Look.
Yeah, it's a good week. I managed to save it. In terms of like Calvert-Lewin, obviously I had that one in there as well, and he's obviously going to have my team ready for this week. But Gundogan, I brought him in. I can't remember who I replaced him for now. Let me have a look in here. Previous week, I took out Eze. That was it. So I was obviously raving about him as a bit of a differential for 2 weeks, and of course he didn't hit for 2 weeks, so I had to get rid of him. So I took a hit on getting him out, and then hit 79, which is good, but with -4. And yeah, listen, I was quite happy with the score. It just wasn't. I didn't choose my captain. I've totally forgot to take Fernandez off. And obviously, I should put Gundogan in. So I did a bit of a schoolboy error there, and I would have scored obviously more towards that century score. Would probably just missed out. But good game week. Red hour in there, but that just shows how tough it is in our competition. But not too bad from us all there, to be fair.
No, it was a good, some good scores. I think overall, I think we've got 157 points we got there. Week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Azarif with 131 in here.
Wow.
And he's got a few plays in there.
Look at the Fulham defender. I think he was the top. So this is what always amazes me about the double game weeks. You get Gundogan was brilliant, but you get your other players in there that you expect to do well that don't quite do well, and then you get your ones like that Aina from Fulham. He's ended up the highest scoring player, I think, alongside Aubameyang. For the game week, phenomenal 20 points for a Fulham defender, and obviously 20 points for Aubameyang, who's kind of dropped off the face of the earth with FPL this year. So he's done very, very well there, and wow, what a lineup for the game week.
Yeah, congratulations to Azaraf, who will get himself an Esports Live voucher, so you can enter into one of our esports competitions with that $10 voucher. Rocket League, FIFA, PES, and NBA 2K. So congratulations to him in getting that voucher over to him. But cracking score, well done to him with 131 points. Wow. So going into the next game week, Matt, what are you thinking for transfers?
Yeah, look, I'm gonna do something I don't like doing, and that's taking a hit. So obviously I burnt one of my transfers last week, which means this week to get a couple of double game weeks in, I've got to burn a transfer. So I've done one. I've put a player in that you've got actually that I can't quite pronounce his name. I think it's Strujic from Leeds. Yeah, that'll do.
Something like that.
3.9 million. Look, I don't know how safe he is for starts, because I did hear Leeds have got a couple of players back, but look, I had to throw someone in there. I could have put Dallas in, who's obviously a really good Leeds defender to have, but I needed a cheap option. Needed to keep that money in the bank, so he's gone in there. James Justin's gone out, which is a massive loss for my squad. Brilliant player he's been for. I think he was in your team as well, wasn't he, this season?
Yeah.
Gutted to lose him, because I was really counting on him for the rest of the season, but he's gone. Leeds defender in there, and I've taken a hit. Antonio's gone. He's been brilliant for me, but I think I had to put that insurance policy in there with Bamford. It was going to be Souček out, and maybe go for Rafinha or Jack Harrison, maybe even Minamino, but I thought, I'll go Bamford, because if he does score a couple and I don't have him, then I'll slide down the league. So yeah, Bamford's in there. Strujic from Leeds. I've got a -4, and I'm happy with that. I've got the coverage of Danny Ings already, Strujic and Bamford, and I think obviously there's a double game week and there's a lot of other good players, but I'm happy enough with my single game weekers that those two transfers will be enough. Did think about maybe doing a Jack Harrison or Rafinha move for Souček, but I think Souček's a player that you just got to keep him there, because you just don't know when he's going to come on and grab that goal. He's done it so many times this season. So yeah, that's my two transfers this week. What about you? What about yours?
Yeah, nice. Obviously, I've still got my wildcard available, and I was tempting to play around with it and see how I could maybe use it. But I think I'll hold off that for another game week. So I've made a couple of moves. I've taken a hit. I think I've taken a hit every week for the last 5 weeks I've been trying to slowly turn my team around. So this week, yeah, similar to you, I've taken Antonio out, and also DCL. So Calvert-Lewin and Antonio both out, 2 strikers, and I brought in my Bamford and Ings. So similar to yourself. So I'll have that Cavani if he's fit, which he should be. Bamford and Ings as the triple threat up top. Obviously, question marks over Gundogan. Do you think he'll make the Arsenal game or not?
I do. I think for City is a big week because they've obviously got Arsenal at the Emirates. I think historically they've had a few defeats there before. Not last season, I don't think, but there's been previous years they've actually not always had the best record. So I think Pep will be looking at that knowing it's still going to be a difficult game. Champions League will be a big priority for them as well. But I think with Gundogan not playing against Everton, they said he was actually okay, but they didn't want to take a risk. It wasn't a cup final, was Pep Guardiola's words. I think they'll play him in the Arsenal game, and it might be the Champions League game where I think they'll throw De Bruyne in there for that game, that European fixture, and then Gundogan will maybe take that rest in the Champions League, and then they'll put De Bruyne in. So I'm pretty safe. I really, really hope so, because I think that's the reason I'm not going to take another -4, because I feel if Gundogan plays, I just feel like he's going to score every week. So yeah, I think he should play this weekend.
Yeah, that's it. And even if if he doesn't play, you've got that Souček kind of maybe to come in if he's not starting for you already, to come in off the bench, which is what I'm kind of looking at. And if he doesn't play, obviously it'd be a big loss. I'm intrigued to see how this Gundogan and De Bruyne shape, and how it's gonna if Gundogan can actually carry on that form when now KDB is back.
Yeah, look, I think he will, and that's just purely based on Gundogan's form when De Bruyne was in the side. So there was that Chelsea game, which was obviously when I first started to kind of rave about him, and then there was that double game week, where Gundogan hit a double score, and I think he got goals against Villa and Crystal Palace. And then De Bruyne did leave the team after that, but there were still those games before where he was still getting points. I think with De Bruyne, might share the points a little bit, but yeah, who knows? Another sort of theory I come up with is maybe if City do sort of tie the league up early, it looks like they're gaining some ground now and pulling away, that they might throw a lot more into the Champions League towards the end, and you might see players like De Bruyne being pushed more into the Champions League, and maybe he might have a bit of a Premier League side and a Champions League side, because I think the Champions League's the one trophy he needs to win. He needs to get past the semi-finals, quarter-final stage this season. So I've still got faith in Gundogan, and I'm definitely going to be keeping him and not. Bruyne's a good option, but I think I'm still preferring to have Gundogan over him.
Okay, now into the Guru section, one that everyone's been waiting for, ready to get these tips for this massive game week. A lot of decisions to be made. And so if you are looking to make those last minute moves, who to pick as your captain, those differential players maybe to make the difference for you for your teams, we're going to go to Matt and the Guru section now. And Matt, take it away.
Yeah, look, thanks, Jack. It seems a bit strange saying that, because I'm obviously so used to saying thanks, Ollie. But look, it's a big game week, like you said, game week 25 already. There's only 13 more rounds to go after this. So there's a few more doubles involved in there as well, but the season's just flown by. So it is a double game week this week. We've got Leeds and Southampton both playing twice. So I'm going to start off with my differentials and ones to watch for the game week. And we're going to start with that double game week, and I'm going to look at Leeds. And Jack Harrison is one that's really come to mind this week. 3% owned, which is nothing. I'm expecting that to go up in the before deadline this morning. But he's got 3 goals in his last 5 games. He's got Wolves away first, and then he's obviously got the home game against Saints. I'm really expecting him to score on at least one of the 2, maybe come out with some bonus. And obviously, as with a double game week, if he blanks tonight, you've always got a second chance. And Leeds don't really tend to rotate their team too much, so really, really good bet. I think Jack Harrison, if you've if you do fancy taking out maybe a Souček out of your side, take that gamble and bringing in a Leeds player. Second one, Minamino from Southampton. He's on loan from Liverpool. He scored on his debut against Newcastle. Chelsea at home in the first game, then obviously Leeds away. 0.5% ownership. He's already got a goal. I think that's another bargain. He's about 6 million. Really, really good potential there. Playing in, I think, alongside Ings or somewhere in sort of a 3. Plays quite high up the pitch. So, yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on. Another one, I'm going to go to Southampton again. Double game week player. And it's going to be a guy I've actually brought into my draft this week, James Ward-Prowse. He's 8.10% owned, so he's still below that 10%. He's been quite quiet for a while, but I think with a double game week, Wolves and Leeds, set piece threats. And I think Leeds have got a knacker conceded from set pieces as well. So James Ward-Prowse, I'm going to throw him in there. And then my last differential this week, I'm going to go outside of the double game week. It's going to be a man that a lot of people know well from the Sunderland Till I Die documentary. It's going to be Josh Maja, 0.6% ownership, absolutely nothing. You put him in, you're going to see massive green arrows. Again, he's only 5.5 million. I do expect his ownership to go up before deadline, but 2 goals last week, and Sheffield United at home this weekend. So, yeah, really, really good option. So there we go, my differentials. So I'll move on to my 3 teams to watch. 2 of them I think you'll all be able to guess. Leeds, double game week. It's hard not to look past them. Southampton, double game week again. Hard not to look past them. I think they're both quite even fixture against each other. Leeds, Saints, I can see that being a 2-2 type of draw. And then Leeds away at Wolves. Again, you just don't know what you're going to get with Leeds. Southampton home to Chelsea. I can still see Saints scoring in that. Maybe sort of a 1-1, 2-1 type of game. And then my third team is going to have to be Jack's team, Manchester United, home to Newcastle. And sorry, Elliot, when you listen in, miserable form as usual lately from Newcastle. So Man United round up my 3 teams, expecting them to win that one quite comfortably, to be honest. So we'll move on now to my captains. Again, a couple of obvious picks this week. Gonna have to say the man, Bruno Fernandes, 2 goals in the Europa League last night, just phenomenal stuff as usual. Scored against West Brom, home against Newcastle. Definitely a major captain pick. Another 2, Danny Ings and Patrick Bamford. Again, double game weeks, both strikers who they're always in the goals. Tough pick who to pick between the 2. Really not too sure. I like both of them. They're both very fixture proof. So yeah, certainly big captain picks. Another one, he got a rest last night for my team Spurs, Harry Kane. Very, very good record against West Ham. Very, very good record in London derbies. Has to be a captain shout this weekend. And I think he'll be a very big differential captain shout this weekend. And then to round off the standard captains, I'm going to go with Salah. He got a goal against Leicester last week. Brilliant goal as well. Home to Everton. Again, home, Anfield, derby games. Steps up in those types of matches. So I think he's a really, really good shout. Obviously, the premium option as well. So we'll go on to my curveball, and it's a man I've mentioned a few times today already. And it's going to have to be Jack Harrison at Leeds. Again, I already spoke about his low ownership, his goals, 3 in the last 5. He's scored quite a few goals this season. I think it's about 6 or 7 Premier League goals and 5 or 6 assists. Really, really good numbers. He's only about 5.4 million as well. And that if I owned him, if I was to take that extra -4 and go a -8, and I did own him, I'd probably throw that armband on him as well. To be honest, I think he's a huge curveball and a really, really good option for the game week.
Wonderful stuff, Matt. And listen, I'm really liking a couple of them shout. I actually think it's really hard this week for the captain picks. There's obviously some good ones in there. I mean, going with the likes of Ings or Bamford would be good, but Fernandes just seems to deliver. And like you said, the Kane one against West Ham, his record against them is obviously brilliant. I'm in 2 minds on which way to go.
Yeah, I agree. It's a tough one. And I think there's a bit of a saying on Twitter, FPL community, and you don't always want to have your captain play too early. It's a bit of a superstition, and obviously Bamford's the early fixture. I think he's going to be the most captain of the week. Seems to be popping up with goals quite frequently for Leeds. But again, if he plays against Wolves tonight and it's quite a 0-0 or a 1-1 and he doesn't score, you're probably going to be really you'll be clutching on that second game a lot. So. But you got your Fernandez's single game weeks, Harry Kane's, they could explode with 15, 16 points, that type of thing. Same as Salah, and that's the thing to be wary of. Is double game weeks are great, but you do always get those individual game weekers. We saw it with Aubameyang last week that end up getting more points. So it's a tough one. I do think it's going to be a lot of Ings v Bamfords. If this was a single game week, you'd 100% be picking Fernandez. But I think it will be a bit of a tussle between Ings and Bamford this week. Maybe Dallas as well. But for me, it's going to be a last-minute call between Ings and Bamford, just because you do get that second opportunity. But it is a very, very tough one. Very tough one.
Well, I'm sure you've helped out a lot of managers to narrow that down anyway to the shortlist that you provided, which is great. And obviously going back to your differentials as well, like the Minamino and the Madja, great shouts. I think the Madja one hopefully doesn't perform another Sunderland till I die kind of year for Fulham. But he started off with a bang in there, and I'm sure he's going to be picked up quite a lot because he's obviously great value.
Yeah, look, I hope so. I think Fulham might have a few double game weeks coming up as well at some stage. They've got a couple of spare games. 5.5 million's nothing. So, look, for my own team, if I can eventually find the extra million, and I can finally get rid of Brewster and put someone like that in there, I think with Fulham, wanting to stay up and fight relegation, he could be absolutely massive. So, definitely one to keep an eye on and maybe try and get on him early if you've got that spare space.
All right, great work, mate. What we'll do now, we'll move on to the Scout 11 to see what picks we can pull out of this for all our fantasy managers out there. Obviously, it's looking really good already. I had a sneak peek before, and here it is on screen. Do you want to get through this and see see what we can pull out?
Yeah, look, I think again, if you've not used your free hit chip and you feel like this is the week to use it, this is within the budget. Saying that, there was quite a bit left over in the budget this week, so I've decided it's got to be the triple up on the Leeds and Saints with the doubles. So, Leeds speak for themselves there with your Dallas. He's had a phenomenal season, playing as a midfielder pretty much right now. Harrison from Leeds as well. I've spoke about him tonight. Don't need to mention much more than him. Really, really liking his goal threat. And then Bamford, put him captain's armband on him in the Scout 11 as a safety net because you're expecting them to grab at least a goal in one of the two games and maybe some bonus. Then going on to the triple up from Saints, Vestergaard, huge set piece threat. He was out with injury, but we all remember how good he was before the injury. Leeds do concede a lot of goals as well from set pieces. So Vestergaard, not a bad shout for 2 games. Ward-Prowse spoke about his set pieces. Danny Ings, fixture-proof player. Likes to score in the big games as well, probably on the penalty kicks. And then outside of the double game weekers, I'm going to go with Areola from Fulham. He's been picking up a few points, going under the radar lately. Home to Sheffield United. I can see that being maybe sort of a tight 1-0, 2-0 type of game, possibly. Could go either way. And then we've got Luke Shaw from United. Really, really liking his form this season. I'm expecting a big score out of him in that Newcastle game. I can see him ending up with an assist and a clean sheet. Newcastle look quite toothless without Wilson. Fernandez, again, I'm expecting at least a goal from him in that, maybe even a couple. Wouldn't put it past me if Fernandez comes out with another one of those sort of 16, 17 pointers and everyone's going to wish they'd captained him. It's just his goals in that Europa League. The second goal was just phenomenal. And I think Newcastle is just one of those teams that don't look like they're going to get anything out at Old Trafford, do they really? But we'll see how that goes. And so I've got Josh Maja in there, who I've spoke about, home to Sheffield United. I think it's a good chance for him to get back on the score sheet. And then to round it off, Son, had to put him in there. And obviously it's a tough game, derby game, but I would have liked Kane, but I couldn't look past that front three. And I wanted to put Son in there. Again, he's got a pretty good record against West Ham as well. He scored against them in a few fixtures, and he only got 45 minutes in the Europa. He did get a really good goal this morning, and I think him and Kane are going to be back on Sunday together, like on that Son and Kane partnership. Well, I'm hoping so, but I just think fresh legs. I think we're going to see a bit more fresh legs from him this week. West Ham are a good side, but I can see that being again a 2-2, 3-2, 2-1 type of game. It was 3-2 last season at their stadium, so yeah, I can see there being a few goals. I think Son, it was either Son or Salah, and I think Son had to be there this weekend because his record in that fixture is really, really strong.
Yeah, and listen, the team's looking really good in there. I mean, there might be some question marks from people. Even though Saints have got the double game week, obviously they've been. I think it's last 3 games or 4 games they've now lost. Obviously, since we absolutely battered them, they haven't really recovered. Obviously, Newcastle got the win against them the other week, and then last week they went 1-0 up, didn't they, against Wolves at home? And then obviously Wolves got the quick 2, didn't they, and turned it around. So I mean, in terms of maybe teams not backing, but a couple of the assets in there, you expect to deliver on set pieces or with the goals with Ings, but the Vestergaard one maybe question marks. Not too sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely can see that the point, especially with the goals conceded. But I think with Vestergaard, it's mainly more thinking towards his threat as a set piece threat. So, to be honest, I do expect them to concede against Chelsea. Potentially, 2-2 or 2-1 defeat, maybe that type of thing. And he might come out with just a point. But Leeds are very, very vulnerable when it comes to set pieces. There's a lot of pressure put on that young goalkeeper of theirs when corners and free kicks come in. And Vestergaard just gets on the end of a lot of them. So I think from the 2 games, we might see at least one of them where he, potentially nicks a goal. I think it's a reasonable option. It's a bit of a worry. And then Ward-Prowse, just that free kick set piece threat, and Danny Ings, very fixture proof. He scored in the game against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Seems to score in all the big games, doesn't he? Got that goal against Liverpool as well a few weeks back. So got a good feeling about him. So it's a bit wary with Saints, but look, if there's it's now or never, I think, for them.
Yeah, spot on. And then the next one I was going to bring up with the Harrison shout. Obviously, a lot of people looked at Rafinha. I know you're a big fan of his. I don't know if he was too successful hitting for you, but I know he's a good player to have. He is a great player, actually, to be fair. And even Patrick Bamford was saying he's probably too good to be in the lead squad. They couldn't believe no one else picked him up. So, what's your thoughts with Harrison versus Rafinha?
Yeah, look, it was a tough one. Rafinha's probably my second favourite FPL player this season after Ilkay Gundogan. So it was tough to leave him out. Look, and I needed to I didn't want to double up on the midfield. I had to put Dallas in and I had to put Bamford in. So Harrison or Rafinha. And it's really come down to goal threat. Obviously, Rafinha's recent form, brilliant. He's taking corners and getting assists. But he's kind of had, 1 week 5 points, another week 6 points, which is good over a period of time. But if you're looking at over 1 game week, Harrison lately, he had a 9-pointer against Newcastle. I think there was a Everton game, he got 9 points in. There was another game he got like a 7. I think his ceiling's just pretty high. He's had other games this season where I think Newcastle at home this season where he scored 2 really, really good goals. And I think his goal threat's a bit higher. And, you score a goal in Fantasy League, you get an extra point. And I think his ceiling's slightly higher. Plus his ownership's so low. I think he's a really, really good shout this week. And just edges it over Rafinha for me. As much as I love Rafinha, I think he just edges it because of his goals.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, listen, that'll wrap up the guru section for this week. I'm sure you provided heaps of knowledge for everyone and insight going into this double game week. So thanks for doing that, Matt. Top work. All good. So now we're just going to quickly check in on our draft league while the boys aren't here. So let's just bring this up on the screen now. and we'll see what this looks like. I'm pretty sure everyone's going to know that I'm top of the league still, and be buzzing about that.
How does he do it? How does he do it?
So I've got this. I've got the standings up on here now. 48 points. Giller's Killers with 54 points for this week. Gave me another win. Statman Dave in second, looking good. Let's just have a look at these results. Here we go. So I took a 54 over 45 again versus James. Elliot got his win, 57-33 against Papa Peely. Rolando pushed the Guru all the way to the end, 62 points. What a score that was! But Matt topped him with the 70. Unbelievable scoring by both the teams there. And then Dave Watts, Statman Dave, continued his run. He got another win under his belt, 55 points versus Ollie's 36. So Ollie's definitely not going to win the league now, I'm sure. And he'll be absolutely spewing about that.
Mate, he won't be happy, will he? And I think, shout out to Rolando there, 62 points. And if he had any other fixture this week, he would have got a win. So he really pushed me. And but yeah, Ollie, he won't be happy. He's really spiraled out of control there, and he's starting to lose a little bit of ground now on the league that he'd already won. So
that's it. And he's probably disinterested once again. So Ollie's in fourth there, and Elliot's still 6 points behind him for that top four spot, the Champions League spots, I guess we can call them. Matt, you obviously got that win, which has kept you up with Statman Dave's team. And Statman Dave, I feel like he's breathing down my neck. Both of you two are still there in the mix, and you've actually gone past me on points now as well on the points total.
Yeah, we have, and it's getting pretty close up there. See, this week I was speaking to James, who's obviously Chicken Tikka Mo Salah, and I think he was quite confident of getting 3 points this week against your side, Giller's Killers, and you managed to just get there in that last couple of games with the double game week, and you pipped him there. And I think if James had got that 3 points, we would have had a really, really interesting few weeks with these double game weeks. But I think we're pushing you, but you've still that 6 points. We just can't break it down. We can't break it down. And I couldn't beat you a few weeks ago, and couldn't quite change it. And you just every time we think you've got a tough fixture, you manage to to beat that person that you're playing. So we're chasing you down, but we just can't quite get there yet.
That's it, mate. You just have to keep going, won't you? You just have to keep going. But if I go on to the fixtures for this week, so I think, it is. So first versus joint second. So it's myself, my team, versus K Salah Salah with Statman Dave. And I'm a bit worried about this one, actually, to be fair. I think it's got to be the featured game of the week.
It's got to be. I think that's easily the biggest fixture. First v second. Dave's on a good spout of form. He's winning week after week at the moment, and obviously you're very, very hard to beat right now. So yeah, this is a big game week. If Statman can pull this one out, leaving a 3 point gap between himself and you, then yeah, it's massive. So really, really big game. It's going to be a very close one, I think.
Yeah, that's it. And hopefully, I might have to just double check my team before going into this one and see if we can get any last minute transactions for the double game weekers, because I don't think I've got anyone in there who's playing double game week. So I'll have to check Dave's out as well. If I go onto Dave's team,
he's got Dallas.
He's got Dallas and Shea Adams. Ooh, and he's obviously got Fernandez in there for the Newcastle game.
Who's his bench? No one.
Not many on his bench there. I think West Brom got some, I think their fixture difficulty for the next 3 weeks is looking quite good as well. It's all loads of greens for them. So hopefully none of them. Good. And obviously he scored the other day, didn't he, as well, against United?
Yeah, he did.
An interesting one to maybe keep an eye out for. And then, so interesting week in the draft again to go into this week, and we'll see how we go, and we'll check in next week to see how that looks versus first versus second. What are you going for, Matt? Did you think myself, or are you going with Statman Dave's team?
Look, if I'm looking at the two teams face value right now, it's hard to look past Statman Dave with Dallas, Fernandez, Gundogan, if obviously Gundogan plays. I think those three could be pretty key. I think you're still missing Zaha this week. He was huge for you. Do have Harry Kane though. But again, we'll have to let's see your team again. You got Cresswell's got a bit more of a difficult game. Grealish, it's a good shout this week. I think Grealish, Leicester at home, does like to step up in those sort of Midlands derbies. Martial, if he gets the start. Kane, it'll be a tough one. I think you've got to see what free agents there are, see what you can kind of pull in. I think if you can, I think there's a bit there. I think Armstrong at Southampton's available in the free agents. I thought I'll give you a little tip there. He might not be a bad one, but you look at your side and who do you want to sort of take out. So if you could get maybe a couple of those, you've got to play a couple of players in there. I think you could dispose of now, like Jared Bowen. There's probably a few weeks of not really doing much. You want to probably keep that bench and goalkeeper. Keep Antonio, keep Zaha, Hudson-Odoi. I thought he was going to be a bit more of a differential than he has been, but he's not getting the goals or the assists. So you could potentially dispose of them. You've got a red flag on Cash as well. So it's probably a bit of work you could do. If I'm going face value right now, I've got to back Statman. But look, if you find a couple of outside the box type of transactions, and might change it. But sorry, mate. Right now, I've got to look at the teams what I can see, and it's looking quite one-sided. I think with Fernandes and Dallas and Gundogan right now. And for you, I can only really see big points from potentially Kane and Martial. Everyone else, I'm not seeing too much this week.
Right. Well, if you want Statman Dave to be pushing another 3 points this week, then you may have just wished it upon yourself, mate.
Yeah. Well, look, if Statman can get the win, then it will close that gap for both of us, and obviously myself if I can win my fixture this week. So, but again, you never know, mate. You might be able to work some magic in the free agents. You never know. Okay, well, listen, that wraps up the pod for this week. Obviously, a little bit different. It's myself and the Guru running the show tonight. So thanks for joining us. And listen, good luck to everybody in going into this double game week. May all your FPL dreams come true. Any final words, Matt? Final words. Look, good luck, everyone. From a personal point of view, would really love another big Gundogan points haul, because I know how all the non-Gundogan owners are really, really getting sick of him. So, fingers crossed for a big Gundogan haul. And again, good luck, everyone, with the double game week.
All right, thank you for that, Matt, and all the best to everybody. And we'll be back next week, as normal. Both the boys should be back with us. If not, I think me and Matt will just take it from here and see out the rest of the season. All right. Take care, everyone, and good luck. Cheers, Matt. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jack.